You are now listening to Scheduling Fate, hosted by author and counseling astrologer Jamie McGee. For more information, please go to schedulingfate.com. Hi there, and welcome to Scheduling Fate. I'm your astrologer, Jamie McGee, and today we are going to continue on with our series about manifesting with astrology. Now, we have already worked through the 7 traditional planets, and I do want to explore the outer planets, but in order to really understand those, because they're in place for so long and they're a generational planet, we would want to understand the houses. And to understand the houses, I think a good place to start would be the ascendant. So, the next couple of episodes that you're going to hear in the series is going to be one about the ascendants today. Then we're going to talk about the houses, and then we'll dive into those outer planets so you can really understand how you or your generation manifest in this area of your life using those energies. So, for the last 7 videos, I have ensured that very first intro into why I think this is such an amazing practice, looking at how you work with the law of attraction, how you work with manifestation, how you can be self aware of what you're attracting to you, and how you can work with that energy. I've ensured that intro is in every video. I'm not going to put that in this video. So if you have not heard me talk about this before, I encourage you to find that link underneath here. Go listen to that first video. Go listen to all of them because that'll really help you start to conceptualize how you are consciously or unconsciously attracting. All right, with that being said, I just want to remind you that underneath this podcast, you are going to find a link to a free chart. You're also going to find a link to a free workbook. And if you would like to be part of my Moongate membership for less than $5 a month, get discounts on the reports that are tailored to your personal chart, working with me, a great calendar that you can add with all astrological insights from me on it. That's less than $5 a month. And there's also a link for that. All right, so our topic for today is about the ascendant or the AC. Now, when you are first on a journey of self-exploration and learning your chart, it's easy to understand what your sun sign is. You put in your birthday, you're like, this is me, no doubt about it. The ascendant is a giant leap forward because in order to understand what your ascendant is, your rising sign, you must know what time you were born. And it's not something that you can guess. The universe moves every 4 minutes. Now, with that being said, please do not panic. If you do not know what time you were born, we can still discern a lot. Astrologers can still discern a lot by understanding what planet is in what sign and how those planets are talking to each other, the aspects. And then there's a great tool called rectification that can help us look at your life events and understand what your rising sign is. But that rising sign is the key. It is the doorway. It opens up how your chart is set up. It says this is house 1. And if we know where house 1 is, we know where the other 12 are. And the houses represent areas of our life. A great way to think about this is the house is the stage, the planets are the actors, and the sign is how those planets act on that stage. That's always a good thing to remember when you're first learning astrology. But knowing that first house, we're able to see the flow of how your entire chart works together. And it's remarkable what you can learn from that energy. Now, that first house is all about you. It's yourself. It's how you look. And it's pretty interesting because the way that I tell people, and if you worked with me one-on-one, you've heard this, the sun sign is your crown. It's like what you are adorned with in this life. The moon sign is sort of like where you hold the doctorate or the PhD. That's your instinct. You do it so well. You're masterful at it that you don't even think about it. It naturally happens. But your rising sign, your AC, is sort of like being on the junior varsity team. You're wearing the jersey. Everyone sees you as that. And this is one of those areas where I'm like, the universe has a sense of humor. Because when people meet you, they meet that rising sign. They don't necessarily meet your sun sign. They meet the rising sign. So even though you're the new person on the team, just trying to figure out how to be what your rising sign is, that's the energy that comes out first and just reaches out and smiles. It's the mask that we wear. That's one of the ways that it's described in text. Now, what does this have to do with manifestation? Well, when we look at how the houses are set up, there are houses that are very public. They're things that you can't hide. Like, this is what I look like. These are my partners. This is my family. This is my home work-life balance. Those are public areas of our lives. Those are the public angular houses. This is 1, 7, 4, and 10. These areas impact us on a really powerful level because often, sometimes unfortunately, we're more outwardly focused than inwardly focused. So understanding how these energies are working at these pivotal angular areas helps us understand what we are consciously or unconsciously attracting to us. Now, please keep in mind, this is just one layer. This is just your ascendant, understanding what planets are in these houses and what conversations those planets are having, who they answer to, and who that planet answers to, all adds a very unique, one of a kind experience of this lifetime that you have. There is not another person on this planet that has your chart, your perspective. You're here for a reason in this lifetime, and is to express how you use that energy. But I think that these are great first steps for you to start to understand, okay, this is how I naturally attract. So as we go through the signs, we're going to start at the top and go to the bottom. We're going to look at how you work with this energy. But I encourage you to pull out that free chart that's underneath it or a chart that you already have. Look at the planets that you have in those areas and realize that that is another layer. And also consider what is transiting through that area of your life? Because you may, when we get into the houses, I know we're going to have questions like, I don't have anything in this area. What does that mean? There is going to be something transiting through that area of your life. The moon moves through there every single month, but the rest of the planets, they're going to start talking to it, whether by transit or actually being present in that house. So, understanding these areas of your life is so vital, and understanding these angular areas that we're about to talk about. Those are some big, significant life shifts that come in, or things that are just so in your face, in your awareness. By understanding them, you can say, okay, unconsciously or consciously, this is what I always bring into my life, or this is the stage. Remember, the house is the stage, the sign is how those actors on that stage act. This is what I bring in. And if you know that setting, if you understand that theme, then you can engage to ensure that you are calling in what you want to see more of in your life. So again, there's a free chart underneath this broadcast. There's a link to the original video. There's a great booklet. If you want to work one-on-one with me, there is a great link for you to get discounts on doing that as well. All right, let's dive in. All right, so if you are Cancer rising, you are ruled by the moon. And so it's important for you to know where the moon is in your chart. And if you've worked with me, you've heard me say this. I think having the Cancer as a sun, moon, or rising sign has got to be one of the most challenging and one of the most hackable energies to work with. It's challenging because your ruling planet, who rules your entire chart, changes signs every 2.5 days. So it's like being on an emotional roller coaster, or a roller coaster of focus. Like, I'm focused on this. Now I'm focused on this. I want that. I didn't want that. Now, the reason I say it's one of the most hackable signs is that if you track the moon, if you understand, hey, the moon's in this sign and it's in a good mood or a bad mood, then that helps you frame what you're walking into across those couple of days. You'll know I should do this or I shouldn't do this, or it's recommended to do this or not do this. And that way you won't feel like you're behind or ahead of the ball. You'll feel like you have some sense of rhythm as you work with your life, which is one of the reasons I started the Moon Gateway membership, but also have the Moon Gateway podcast. So I recommend that you listen to that every Sunday. Now, this is a cardinal water sign. It has a lot of emotion to it, a lot of family ties to it. So when people meet you, they meet a nurturing person, someone who's very protective and compassionate. Now, at the same time, you could have a really hard outer shell, and only certain people can see that energy behind the scenes. There's probably something very interesting about the relationship that you have with mothers or mother figures in your life, and how you work with those. And I would ask, is this hindering you or is this helping you? Because either way, it was a lesson that you were meant to walk with. And that's a karmic one that you want to dig into a little bit. Now, speaking of karmic energies, that fourth house, your home, your foundation, this is a Libra energy. It's ruled by Venus. So, in this area of your life, you're always looking for diplomacy. You're looking for harmony and balance. And it could be that as soon as you feel like you have it, or you finally get someone in your home base to agree with you, that you find yourself shifting to the other side. You're looking for harmony. And I would encourage you, when it comes to your home, when it comes to your roots and your foundations, look for a middle ground. And what I mean by that is, if you are clear on who you are and what you have emotions tied to and why, then you can be in harmony with yourself, which will attract something or someone else, that home base, to be in harmony with themselves. You don't want either side to be codependent when it comes to your home base. And if you reflect back on your early childhood or a parent, you're going to see something that you really liked, or something that really challenged you with that Libra energy. You could have really fallen in love with the idea of harmony and balance, but are constantly seeking it in your life. So reflecting on that, reflecting on where Venus is, can give you some more understanding of what you are consciously manifesting and unconsciously manifesting. In other words, why do you want your home to be that way? And what can you do to make it that way? Now, when it comes to partners, friends, open enemies, this area of your life is ruled by Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. So, where is Saturn in your chart, and what does that energy answer to? This can make Partnerships are connections a little bit of a challenge, meaning that it doesn't come easy. You have to work for these connections, one grain of sand at a time. But once you lock in and you build something, you're building something that's meant to last. It's timeless, it's endless. Nothing comes easy with Saturn, but it's always worth it when it comes to these partnerships, but also like the network that you're associated with, how you think and how you approach life. So I would ask you, how hard are you being on yourselves when it comes to these partnerships? And this energy is a little bit harsh because it's opposite of your rising sign. So where you have these emotional connections, I can't explain why I do what I do, but I do this because it makes me feel comfortable. You more than likely are attracting partners in your life that says, give me a reason why. We have to have a system here. We have to have a structure here. And emotions and feelings, things that are you're really known for, that watery soul deep energy of a Cancer rising cannot conceptualize that for its partners. So that's where you can have a little bit of a tug of war. But there's also something you can learn from your partners and something your partners can learn from you. So keep that in mind. Now, when it comes to your 10th house, the highest level in your chart, how you're known in the world, your soul purpose, how authority figures that you've attracted or you're working with in your life, this is ruled by Aries. So you are attracted or you are seen as a pioneer, someone who may be scared to death on the inside, but takes charge, takes action, and says, you know what, I'm going to figure it out when I get there. I'm going to follow my heart and I'm going to understand what this is. It's very bold and action oriented and can very much be the life of the party. You may have leaders, or you could be a leader that looks as if you're standing alone, but you understand you have all of these support systems. You have these partnerships that you have built over time. You really seek to have harmony at your home. So you have this home work life balance and you have a lot of emotion and compassion and nurturing capacity in that rising sign that you have. So as you can see, it's an interesting rising sign to have.